Hey, this is Sam Black with Bant Eldrazi in Modern. Um, this deck kind of debuted at Grand Prix Charlotte and Los Angeles. Pascal Maynard top-aided Grand Prix Los Angeles with this archetype. And I played against it and was fairly impressed, so I thought I would take it for a spin in anticipation of the modern WMCQs this weekend. So just to go over the deck briefly, it's kind of trying to play very similarly to Blue-White Eldrazi before Ivugan was banned, but because Ivugan is banned, explosive Eldrazi Mimic draws are no longer possible. And you can still have Eldrazi Temple, tap it, play Eldrazi Mimic, but you can't have the turn 1 play multiple Eldrazi Mimics off Ivugan. And instead, you're playing Noble Hierarch and Birds of Paradise and Ancient Stirrings as early mana acceleration. Ancient Stirrings obviously functioning as mana acceleration if it finds an Eldrazi Temple. And because you're spending your first turn playing that, and then ideally skipping to 3 mana on turn 2, there's much less use for a 2-drop. So Eldrazi Mimic has disappeared and kind of become part of the mana base of the deck. But the rest of the Eldrazi are still present and still trying to perform a similar role the way that they did in the past. Now that the deck is a tiny bit slower, its primary fear is the very fast aggro combo decks in the format, like Bogles and Affinity, somewhat Affinity, Death Shadow, Infect. And against all of those decks, Spellskite and against most of them, Path to Exile are great. And so this deck uses those to slow down its fastest opposition, to give itself time to win with its big threats. And that's basically the whole deck. Just mana, a bit of disruption for fast opponents, and then big Eldrazi finishers. We're going to call Matter Reshaper big. It's a reasonably high impact 3-drop. And so very straightforward, the way Eldrazi decks tend to be. And then the sideboard is a fairly typical modern sideboard. We have 3 counter spells for combo and control decks, 2 Stony Silence and a Fracturing Gust. I won't try to move that again. For Affinity, 3 Grafdigger's Cage for Collected Company and dredge strategies. There's been a lot of dredge popping up recently in my experience, so it's good to be heavy on this. Dismember to supplement the Path to Exiles is creature removal, along with a couple of engineered explosives that are very good against Bogles and especially some of the Bushwhacker style zoo decks that have been cropping up. An Eldrazi Mimic, just as a way to focus on pressure when you don't need your disruptive elements, and a couple World Breakers for utility, I suppose. They're particularly good if you run into something like the Ensnaring Bridge Lantern deck, or potentially something like Tron or Scapeshift, where you want additional ways to attack their mana. So pretty straightforward deck, but not necessarily something that's as popular as it was before it got banned, clearly, or before Eldrazi Temple or Ivugan got banned. But with this replacement early game, it hopes to not actually lose too much of the power that it had then. And as I mentioned, I've liked what I've seen of how it plays, so looking forward to trying it out now.